So, like I said, when your plants are young and you think you're going to get a frost, you can see here where I had just covered them up like that.
Oh, okay.
That's all you have to do.
Good morning.
I told you about...
Oh, is that your compost? Oh, that's
That's eggshell.
Oh.
Remember I told you
Yeah.
I use eggshell.
Yep.
You can use either eggshell or I told you can go to like your co-op and you can get seashell, crushed seashell.
Oh, that's right. We need to do that.
They feed that to chickens for their eggshell. So you can get that and you can put it in there. And something else you can do is bananas. I don't do bananas a lot because we don't eat a lot of bananas. We probably should, but we don't.
We eat tons because they're cheap. We eat tons of bananas.
But you can take the peeling and you can roll them up, put them in, or fold them up and put them in a Ziploc bag. You can keep putting them in there and put them in your freezer and keep the keep them frozen until springtime, and then you can use them and thaw them out, and they'll be kind of mushy, but that's all right. And that will give you the potassium that the plants need. So we take the eggshells, and we stick them in our oven.
Oh.
I've got a little tray that I keep in the oven at all times. And I always put my eggshells in there, so anytime I bake something, it bakes the eggshells, and then I just break them up.
Okay.
For tomato plants, I usually use about that much.
Okay. Wow.
And as you see, I'm not real particular how I throw it in there. Just a small handful. Eggshell for the peppers as well.
Oh,
because peppers will get end rot as well.
Oh.
Then I also use
Epsom salt.
Epsom salt. Not table salt. Table salt will kill your plant. Epsom salt will not. Epsom salt is magnesium sulfate.
Oh.
And tomatoes I only use Epsom salts on tomatoes.
Okay.
Because tomatoes are a very heavy feeder.
Yeah.
And they like the magnesium. That once again helps with the end rot.
Okay.
And I'll put 1/3 of a cup.
Wow. Okay.
And stick them in your pocket.
Oh, the okra seeds.
Oh, thank you so much.
That's a heirloom okra seed.
Wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
The plants will get about this tall.
Wow.
That's that big?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's short for okra. Most okra gets way taller.
Wow.
But then will branch out, and the okra can get, if you keep it watered, the okra can get that long and still be tender. You'll love it. I put one seed every about 6 inches.
Okay, one seed every 6 inches. Okay.
Yeah, I'll take it and hoe a little trench.
Yeah.
Seed in, say there, and then I would just come like that, drop another seed, another seed, another seed, and that's about every 6 inches at my foot, and I'll lightly cover it. You're only wanting just however big the seed is, that's all the soil you really need over top of it.
Wow. Okay.
If you get it too deep, your seed will die.
Wow.
I keep all my seed in the freezer all winter.
Oh.
So.
Is that how you store it?
That's how I store my seed.
In the freezer. Okay. Like just in a plastic bag.
It's better if you do it in. I use plastic bags.
Yeah.
But it's better if you can get the little paper bags.
Oh.
Keep them in paper.
Oh. Okay.
They'll save better.
If you don't have rain for a while, how often do you water your garden?
That is a tough one. If you water it regular, what you do is you create shallow roots.
Oh.
And then your plants will be weak and they won't be strong. And so I usually try not to water unless it gets super dry.
Wow. That's so interesting.
If I see my plants starting to wilt or something, then I'll actually water. Yeah, it's hard on your garden, it's hard on the plants.
That makes sense though. Yeah.
Because if they have to compete for, they have to put off roots to get the moisture, that's going to make them stronger. If they don't have to, then they're going to be weak.
That is so interesting.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Well, it's like us Christians. If we're stressed a little bit, we get stronger in our faith. If we aren't. If we just go to church and don't do nothing, what happens?
Our roots aren't very deep.
We don't have very deep roots. And the first time something comes along, we're blowed this way or we're blowed that way.
Yeah.
We have to set roots.
Amen.
And this, plants are the same way. Thing in here, saw we put in the okay, this one actually has the, I'll kind of set that out for a second. I just stir it around a little bit.
Okay.
You don't have to worry about, and now you see this plant is a fairly large plant.
Yeah.
You can break off these lower limbs.
Ah, I saw somebody do that in a video. They said their tomatoes do better if they break off the lower limbs.
And now, I'll put that, you see how deep I'm putting that?
Yeah.
It was a big old plant, but look how, when I get through with it, how small it's gonna be.
Yeah. Wow.
Hold on before I go too much. I want to put some water down there.
Wow, that's a lot of water.
It will use what it needs.
Yeah.
The rest of it will go into the ground.
Wow.
But it's so dry.
Yeah.
You really need to water them in real well when you're getting them started. Look, that way they'll have a good start on life. All this initial prep is very important for the health of your plant.
Wow.
And now I'll pull this one out. You can compare.
Wow. Yeah.
That's, you see how much of it went
Yeah.
in the ground. You see these here?
Yeah.
They call those suckers. Okay.
Mhm.
What that is if you don't break these off as the plant grows and comes up, I'll break these off like that as the plant's growing
Yeah.
up until it gets up to about here.
Okay.
Once it gets up to about there, I stop doing that and I'll let the plant start bushing out and it'll bush
Okay.
out. These grow up and they'll be fine. But all I want is a single stalk up to about here.
Oh, wow.
That will let airflow. It allows me to get in there and hoe if I need to and weed.
Wow.
And it helps strengthen the plant too, because
Okay.
now it's putting all that energy into coming
Yeah.
instead of bushing out.
Yeah.
Like I told you before, I don't go by the almanac and I don't go
Yeah.
by the moon.
Yeah.
I go by what God tells me.
Amen. Yeah.
And so I watch nature. I watch the grass.
Yeah.
How it's starting to turn. I watch how the trees are starting to bud.
Mhm.
And then between that and what God tells me, that's how
Yeah.
I plant.
Amen.
I know that sounds odd, and that'll sound odd to most of your YouTubers. But if you do plant early, everything's looking, all the signs are good, and then you
Yeah.
plant, and now they're telling you we're going to have a freeze.
Yeah.
They're saying we're not just getting a frost, we're getting a freeze.
Oh.
There's things I do and things you can do. And like I said, you can cover these up
Yeah.
with bowls
Yeah.
for the night. You just don't want, it's got to be a bowl big enough that it covers it without touching the
Yeah.
leaves. I've got these here. I've got a bunch of old windows.
Oh.
And I'll take and I'll do that. And what that's doing is creating
It's like a
what's
little.
known as a cold frame.
Where'd you get the old windows?
Well, I do handyman work, so
Oh yeah.
if someone wants a window out, so you could actually probably get with people that's doing handyman work and ask them if they've got any old storm windows.
Yeah.
Peppers, like bell peppers, I do them a little different. I'll still put little eggshell.
Okay.
So once again, I'll put eggshell.
Okay. And why do you bake them? Does that make the like?
It makes them crumble up easier. They don't stink,
Oh.
and it will go into the soil easier because it starts the breakdown process.
Oh. Okay.
So they'll go into the soil faster. So now the way I do a bell pepper, these are ones I started from seed.
Mhm.
You notice I didn't dig the hole deeper. With tomato, you saw I dug the hole deep.
Yeah.
This one I did. These I don't. I just bring it in. Make sure there's no air pockets.
Okay.
This is awesome.
Mhm.
It's crazy.
I'm learning so much. We luckily already have the Epsom salts.
Yeah, we do have Epsom salt.
So we just need either banana peels or the seashell.
Plenty of banana peels.
If you're doing a fully 100% organic garden, you'll have to take your wood chips
Yeah.
and you'd have to create a compost pile and it'd take a couple years.
Yeah.
Because you got to put a lot of greens, like when you cut, you'd have
Yeah.
to bag all your grass clippings and everything,
Yeah.
put onto it and stir it in. So it's hard to use wood chips
Yeah.
in gardening.
Okay.
But it is possible. I do it.
Yeah.
But it's because I use ammonium nitrate.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of ammonium nitrate.
Do you ever use seaweed in your garden? I've heard of people doing that puts good stuff in it. I guess you're not next to the ocean, so it's not such a normal thing.
That's kind of the problem.
Yeah, in Maine we use a lot of seaweed.
Yeah, anything you can.
Yeah.
Lawn clippings, as long as it's from your own yard, is usually pretty safe because you know what you put on your yard. You know if you've used.
Yeah, the grass I guess grows crazy.
Yeah, it grows really high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you, other people they'll use pesticides and different things on their garden. Lawns, so you don't want to use most people's lawn clippings. I don't try to discourage the birds. I encourage them because I planted all the way along that fence, and along that fence I've planted sunflower seeds.
Oh.
So I'm encouraging.
Why do you plant them for the birds?
It encourages the birds.
Wow.
What I run into when I'm encouraging the birds, they'll go and they'll eat a lot of your pests out of your garden. They'll also eat some of your tomatoes and stuff. So I usually wait until my tomatoes just start turning color. If it's you can start to see it pink, turn a little pink before it turns red. Then I'll pick it and I'll take it in the house
and let it ripen up there.
Let it ripen up, finish ripening.
That's smart.
Once if I'm through canning, then I'll leave them on the plants until fully ripened, and the birds get their due then.
It's really smart.
That's when I eat my slicing tomatoes after I'm through canning. I want the nice, really delicious afternoon tomatoes.
Ah, so smart.
So,
we'll have to do a canning course with you next, later on in the year.
Either 3 foot or 4 foot apart.
Okay.
And then most plants, I plant at 16 inches apart, which is 1.5 feet. Okay. So I can go 1'5" on this, and that's still 16 inches. That's still 1.5 feet.
Okay, so it works.
Yeah. So let me pull this out. Eggplant is one of the things I have spaced farther apart than I do anything else. They actually recommend 3 foot about, but I don't plant them that far apart. Eggplant gets pretty big. They get pretty thick stalked, and they actually most of them have thorns on them.
Wow.
So a lot of people don't like putting them in the garden because they can be kind of a pain. But I plant them about every 2 foot apart. Okay. Now I'm just going to put these straight in the ground. But what I've done when I bought these, you notice this is a little 4-pack, but I dug 6 holes. The reason I dug 6 holes is I've got 2 plants. So if you look when you buy plants at a nursery, a lot of times you'll find them with 2 or more plants. And if you're real careful, when you break them apart, so I paid for 4, now I've got 6 plants.
That's really smart.
That's just by being observant. You can save a little money, and you're not stealing nothing, you're paying for them. And so and it doesn't really, as long as you're real careful and make sure you got enough root on each plant, it doesn't really hurt them. It actually kind of helps them too, because it kind of breaks up. They get a little bit root bound in these. So when you do that, it kind of helps them, encourages the roots to start putting out. Let me grab my water jug once again.
And since these are your newly putting them in, you're watering them really well in the beginning. Will you come back and make sure they're really watered throughout? That's it? Just that one? Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unless it stays really dry. If it stays really dry, and like I said, and I come out here and I look, I'll usually look at my garden every day.
Yeah.
If they're starting to wilt, you'll definitely tell when they're starting to wilt.
Yeah.
The plant, I've even come out here before and seen the plant look like they're dead laying on the ground with the tongue hanging out. But you just water them real good, and the next thing you know, they'll be standing up pretty healthy and happy.
Wow.
I'll have enough off those 2 rows of potatoes that I won't have to buy potatoes all year. And they're just, and you've seen how short their rows are.
Yeah.
And I'll feed me and Terry, and I'll feed Miss Phyllis all year off of them 2 rows of potatoes by just the little things of paying attention, not burying them deep so that they can have plenty of soil.
How do you preserve your potatoes? Because they go really quickly, I've noticed, when we buy them from the store.
The thing is, when you buy them from the store, a lot of them are very old potatoes.
Oh, like they've already been sitting there for a while.
They've already been around for a while.
Oh, that's why. In Maine, at least, like our potatoes would last a very long time, but in California and here, I've noticed they go mushy really quickly.
Yeah, well, you're getting older potatoes.
Ew.
And when you're buying them out of the store, you're getting older potatoes.
Wow.
Plus, they've been in heat and hot trucks and out hauled here and there.
I always wonder that because in Scotland the potatoes lasted forever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's potato country.
But here they were bad so quickly.
Yeah, so the big thing is getting them out of the heat.
Yeah.
A lot of people wait too long to harvest their potatoes.
Oh, okay.
They want the plant to totally die. I don't.
Oh.
Once I see the plant starting to weep over and starting to die, it's not going to put any more energy into the potatoes. So there's no need to leave them in the soil, because all you're doing then is letting the soil get hotter and hotter as the summer goes along, and that causes them to rot in the soil.
Okay.
So I'll dig them up. I'll set them out where they can dry in the shade, in a shady area, whether it's in my shop or something. But I want them to dry for a day or 2.
Okay.
And then I don't wash them. I wipe off the dirt, and I've got a refrigerator that I use just for my gardening stuff.
Yeah, nice.
And I'll load it up with my potatoes, and
Oh, you keep them in the fridge. Okay.
so I keep them in a refrigerator.
Oh, okay.
Because I'll pick tomatoes and let them ripen in the house, like I said, until I get enough to can. And I'll make a big 20-quart pot of tomato sauce at a time.
Wow.
That is crazy.
And when I can a bunch at one time.
We have a lot of work to do. This is exciting though.
So, mole
Oh my
and
goodness.
Wow.
gopher that showed up. She killed them all.
She was trying to prove herself. She was like,
And so she wiped them all out. And that winter, it started getting cold, and I was like, well, you ain't pregnant, so I guess we're going to keep you.
oh.
So I started feeding her. And Miss Phyllis bought a couple bags of cat food at first, too.
So
And
sweet.
so I started feeding her, and she decided, like I said, she decided she's going to adopt us. See, half of this will be zucchini and half of it will be yellow squash. This will be, I'll start off with the yellow. So I'm just going to walk down here and drive me another post.
Okay. We could honestly, those 4 long posts that we have, we could cut those,
them in half,
and it probably still won't be enough, but we can buy more from the dollar store.
they're cheap.
Yeah, they're so cheap. It would
The
just
only reason
need
I
a
do
little
this is
axe.
to divide so I know where to stop.
Ah, that's smart.
And as you seen, I wrote on that one that it was yellow
Yeah.
squash.
Yeah.
And if you look almost at any post, you'll see what's wrote. But I'm putting my squash here, but my cantaloupe is all the way over the other side of the garden.
Yeah.
Why is that?
They'll cross-pollinate, and you'll ruin your cantaloupe.
That's crazy. Wow.
You try to plant watermelon close to zucchini or
We got watermelon. Yeah. That's good
so
to
you
know.
just have to kind of plan
Yeah.
how you want your garden laid out. so that nothing that will cross-pollinate will be close together.
I was wondering why you are doing seedlings for these. Do they not do well planted right in the ground?
Peppers, you try to put pepper seed in the ground, you probably won't get peppers this year.
Okay.
Because it will get so hot and so dry.
Okay.
Peppers like the heat, and so they actually do better in the heat than a lot of plants, but it takes peppers so long
Wow.
to come up and do well. So that's usually why I use seedlings. And most of my seedlings I grow myself, but some I do buy.
Okay.
If I want to try something different, like usually I grow my own habaneros and jalapenos.
Oh, cool.
But this year, my inside cats, I think, took and helped me out with that, so they kind of destroyed my plants.
Oh no.
So again, I planted hot peppers over here.
Yeah.
And my bell peppers was way over there.
Oh, that's crazy.
And once again, that's keep them from cross-pollinating. Otherwise, you'll wind up with hot bell peppers. Not most people want hot bell peppers. I like them, but
that's so crazy.
Miss Nelda, she wouldn't like hot bell peppers. but bush beans will produce faster, and you'll get several pickings off of bush beans. So the pole beans take longer to grow, but I like there's certain ones I like.
Yeah.
And I don't like bending over.
Yeah.
Usually
it gets to you after a while.
Yeah. When I was y'all's age, it didn't bother me near as much.
I used to work in farms because I was an ag, and I would always be bent over picking up poop and what have you. And at like a few years ago, I've pulled my back, so I'm with you. Even being young, my.
And as a lady, yeah. You got other problems coming for the rest of the summer.
It's gonna get harder. Yep.
You're not gonna want to be out there later on in the summer. You're gonna be looking at him like, no, you're doing it. It's too hot, and I am miserable. I was out there until it got warm. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he hasn't experienced a full south summer.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, our Maine summers are too hot for me, and it gets like 80 the whole time.
Wow. You got a rude awakening. If 80 is hot, 80 is just now warm.
80 is spring run.
Yeah, that is really nice.
I know. What we got going for us on the mountain, there's always a breeze.
Yeah.
So praying that helps.
You get the 110 degrees, now that's hot.
Oh gosh. How does that not kill your garden?
It can.
Oh.
Some things will die. Tomatoes will stop blooming.
Wow.
Well, they'll bloom. They just won't set. The blooms will fall off.
Wow.
Because they have to have 70-degree nights for the blooms to set.
Yeah.
On tomatoes. But most of my tomatoes usually survive during the summer.
Yeah.
What dies, I just let die.
Oh, okay.
Because I try to get most of mine during the spring, and then I'll try to save good seed on all my heirloom seed.
Oh, that's something we got to think about is keeping the seed so that we have it for the next one, so you don't have to buy any more.
Tomatoes is super easy. Don't do it the way they try to tell you. They'll try to tell you take the seed and put in a jar and add water and all that to it. Don't do all that mess.
Yeah.
All I do is I take me a paper towel.
Yeah.
And I'll take the seeds out of a tomato, and I'll spread them out on that paper towel and let them dry to the paper towel. And roll the paper right on that paper towel what it is, roll it up and put it in a baggie and put it in your freezer.
Wow.
And then when you go to plant it, you just rip off 2 seeds or 3 seeds.
Oh, it's the paper towel go.
Paper towel and all.
Yeah.
You just want that little bit of paper towel that's got the 2 or 3 seeds, put it in.
That's so smart.
A lot easier too.
That's a great idea.
It's easy. It's just so much better to do it that way.
That's great.
Let me show you how I do seed. So I showed you kind of a while ago, but now I'm going to actually show you. Now before I put them in, I'm going to do what I've been telling you. Because these rows I haven't planted yet, so I hadn't put any marigolds in.
Oh.
Take.
Wow, that's a lot.
I've got a lot of seed.
Yeah, if you can afford to do it, so you just kind of plop it in.
Because like I said, once they make bulbs, you know, you'll have your flowers,
Yeah.
and then once the flowers are pollinated,
Yeah.
they'll turn into these seeds. They'll have a little. It'll look like a little bulb, and you'll see the little pieces like this sticking up,
Oh, and that's the seed.
and then you'll see this whole seed
That's
if you break them apart.
Wow.
So I don't buy. I haven't bought marigold seed in a long time.
Wow.
I just save my own every year.
Wow, that's great.
Once again, I'll put where I change from one type of plant to another.
Oh.
I'll put another batch. And
That's so smart. Do you do that for every single?
everywhere I've changed from one plant to another, we'll get marigolds.
Wow.
Except for probably the peppers, since they're basically the same plant
Yeah,
all the way
it's all the
through.
peppers. Okay.
They'll just get it on the ends.
Okay.
Why
But
do you switch it between the different types of plants?
why do I switch between?
Why do you put it between the different types?
I just do. There's no real reason. I like to get a lot of marigolds in there.
Yeah.
The more marigolds you have, the less pests you're going to have,
That's great.
because they help drive pests away, and they also encourages bees to come in.
Ah.
So the sunflowers encourage bees. The marigolds encourage bees.
Oh, did we get sunflowers?
No, well, I'm sure we could.
Yeah, that would
Yeah.
be great.
So I plant it, and I never get any sunflower seeds. Between the squirrels and the birds, and they get all the sunflower seeds, and the bees get all the honey from the. So somewhere there's someone happy that I planted all these flowers. But they do. A lot of people have trouble with the cutworms and the worms that eats your plants on tomatoes. Can't think of what they're called right now. I've went outside with the black lights. I got a black light that
Yeah.
you can go outside at night, and I've looked, and I can't find any last several years on any of my tomatoes.
That's great.
Yeah, and I think that's just for encouraging the birds to come in and marigolds.
Wow.
That's what I attribute that to.
Wow. What about the beetles? Do you get the June
Japanese
bugs?
beetles
Yeah, the
and-
Japanese beetles. That's what it is.
I used to, but I haven't seen any problem with them since I've started encouraging the birds and the.
That's great.
Once again, I'll come probably about a foot from there, and I'll drop a seed. About every 6 inches, I'll drop a seed.
So funny.
And if you get 2 seeds, like right there, ain't a big problem. When that you see is farther away, I ain't worried about that either. But I will come back and thin these if they come up
Okay.
a bunch. But
If you just do one, are you not worried about the chance that it won't germinate?
no, because there's going to be enough with the rest of them
Oh, I see.
that where there's only one, if it don't germinate, I don't care.
Okay.
Because I've planted enough seed, and they're close enough together that they're going to push up against each other and help keep them tall. You know, not having to deal with as much spraying and none of that stuff.
Yeah.
I started encouraging the birds.
Wow, so
Yeah.
cool.
So now you've seen my yellow squash just go in.
That's great. Wow, and that's a big row too.
And I'll do the same thing with the zucchini, exact.
Wow.
And I'll have enough yellow squash for me and Terry, and I'll give yellow squash away at the church, and I'll give
That's
away.
amazing.
All the neighbors will wind up with yellow squash.
Wow. Well, you're a blessing to the neighbors then.
So they'll all get yellow squash, and they'll all get zucchini.
Wow.
Yeah, we have so many older ladies and stuff in this community that ain't got no one, so it's nice to be able to help.
Yes, amen.
So, and I think God blesses when you do stuff like that. He blesses your garden too.
Amen.
So
That's really good.
that's one thing about gardening. You have faith, to put a garden in that it'll grow.
Yeah.
So
Amen.
it does teach you a little bit about faith.
Yeah. Amen.
Otherwise, you'd never put a garden in. Are y'all hungry?
Gardening at
Should I put that deeper?
That'll be fine. Just go ahead and water in good.
Yeah, a lot of them have no star.